Hello and welcome to Discover Community Church, whether you are joining us from online or from our watch party. First, we will start with praise and worship. Then we will move to our mindful moment. Thank you for joining us at Discover Community Church.
My heart is satisfied, oh Lord, you cover me, oh, your glory's all there is to see. Oh, chasing me, oh, catching me day by day, I agree. And so every day, your praise is all I sing, I bring. If all I have is only you, and all I need is all in you, then I live for only you, and I give my all to you. In you, I will sing, for the joy of the Lord has now become my strength. He is my peace and I am satisfied. He's taken the sorrow, given a new song to sing. Forever I will sing, oh, I will sing. Forever I will sing, oh, I will sing. Everybody says it. For the joy of the Lord has now become my strength. He's my peace and I am satisfied. He's taken the sorrow, given a new song to sing. Forever I will sing. Of your mercy, I will sing and shout of your beauty. I will sing to the one in whom I live and live eternally. Oh, I will sing and shout of your mercy. I will sing and shout of your beauty. I will sing to the one
ACC Mindful Moment is a mindfulness practice designed to help us improve our ability to decrease stress, anxiety, and regulate our emotions. This time is intended to help us focus our attention and observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. We invite you to join us. Find a comfortable position, remove any distractions, and prepare to experience God through our connection with the world around us. Today, we take a walk together, you and me. Today, together, we go to a place, your place. I want you to visualize with your eyes closed the happiest moment of your entire existence. Where are you? What's the weather like where you are? Is there a breeze? Is there a lot of noise? Or a lot of stillness where you are? Begin paying attention to even the smallest details that you can notice. Any smell or sight that stands out. Slowly begin to notice how this place is making you feel. Are you happy? Excited? Content? Focus on this feeling and gently wrap your arms around it like an embrace. Hold the feeling tight and feel its warmth on your cheek. Still holding on to this wonderful feeling. Continue breathing. Deep breaths through your nose and out your mouth. Hold here. Notice what's going on inside your body. The happiness you feel. Notice where it's concentrated. Perhaps it's in your shoulders. Perhaps your chest or your arms or your legs. Maybe you feel it on the soles of your feet. Pay attention to each sensation that you feel related to this happiness. Slowly open your eyes and allow the feeling to morph into you so that you can take this happy place wherever you go. Thank you for taking me to this place with you. Until next time.
Good morning, Discover Community Church. It is a wonderful, blessed Black History Month Sunday here. We're so glad that you decided to join us. Hopefully you are at one of our watch parties. Our greeters have helped you to find the food, make sure your children are well taken care of, and that you have a comfortable spot. If you're online, make sure you drop where you're from. We would love to properly greet you in the chat. Here at Discover Community Church, we love God, love people, and we want to make a difference. And we want to continue that here in this Black History Month today. In a time where the terms diversity, equity, inclusion are becoming bad words that cannot be talked about, it's strange because God has created these things. His diversity, he created colors, he created variety to show how marvelous he is. We don't get a chance to see the beautifulness of sunshine without seeing diversity, the beauty of a forest, or the many types of people that walk this earth without diversity. And so, in a time where this shouldn't be talked about, our government are putting laws that says we shouldn't talk about it. I think it's so prevalent and necessary for the body of Christ to talk about it and to show how beautiful God is in creating so many different types of people. Today's message following that is going to be, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? Now, I don't know how old you are watching this, but if you were around in the 1990s, my oldest daughter Zoe calls it the olden days, the 1900s. In the 90s, it became really popular to wear a bracelet, and the bracelet would say WWJD. What would Jesus do? It became a humongous symbol for American culture. Everyone had bracelets on. They had T-shirts. They also talked about it everywhere. What would Jesus do? And this phrase came from this novel that was actually written in 1897. It was from the book called In His Steps, What Would Jesus Do? By Charles M. Sheldon. And in that book, every time a moral dilemma came up, the book would ask, what would Jesus do? And so when that came out in 1897, in the early 1900s, this was a major phrase that was used as well. I guess it kind of died down and picked back up in the late 1900s, in the 1990s. And so it was a part of Christian groups all across America wearing these chains. And so as everything is seeming to change right now, as we think about Black History Month and how it's not going to be celebrated as widely anymore, it makes me ask the question, what would Jesus do? If Jesus were to take on a human bodily form again and walk the earth, if he was about to start his ministry all over again, if he was going to be a church plant, what would Jesus do? What would he say? Where would he launch at? What type of people would he go after? What would Jesus do? I think that scripture gives us the model of what Jesus would do and ultimately what we should be doing today. And so as part of our vision and mission and core values, we've been talking about these all throughout the beginning of this calendar year. One story that comes up after we were discussing our why, our mission, which is to love God, love people, and make a difference, there was a question that was asked to Jesus, and I think it shows what he would do, the type of people he would go after, the type of people that we should be kind to, and that we should ultimately show love to. If you turn in your Bibles to Luke chapter 10, starting at verse 26, it says, Jesus replied, "What does the law of Moses say?" Now, who is Jesus talking to? There were religious leaders that was asking him, what's the most important commandment? I know that you know this story. We talked about it the last time we met. And then it says, how do you read it? And the man answered, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, with all your mind, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus said, right. Jesus told him, do this and you will live. But the man wanted to justify his actions. You know how it is. People believe that they have to prove that they know something and that they're doing the right thing. This is what kind of rises up in individuals. And so they're talking to the Lord God, Jesus, and he says he wants to justify his actions. He says, well, who is my neighbor? And it's very interesting from here on verses 30 through 37, Jesus gives a parable to let him know who his neighbor is. He uses race relations to give a story about how people should love. He knew that he was talking to Jewish leaders, and he knew that these Jewish leaders had a race of people that they really did not like. And in communicating this story, Jesus wanted to give the example that you might think you know how to love your neighbor, but what if I told you your neighbor was somebody that you despised? Why are you using the word despise? Well, the word despise was used in verse 33. It says, then a despised Samaritan came along, and when he saw the man, he felt compassion for him. The story of the Good Samaritan is about a Jewish man that's traveling, and he ends up getting beat and left half dead on the side of the road. And he gives examples of individuals that walk along and see this man that was left on the side of the road. There's a temple assistant that walks past. There's a priest that walks past. But then there's this despised Samaritan. And you might be wondering, well, why do the Jews despise Samaritans? Well, if you have a chance to research why they despise Samaritans, they looked at Samaritans as half-breeds. They weren't pure-blooded. They participated in mixed marriages, kind of similar to how when the United States was being started and when they wanted to determine if someone was black or white or Asian or Hispanic, they said that there's a group that's pure white, but if you have any ounce of anything else, you're mixed and you're not a part of this pure breed that's there. And so here, Jesus knows that they feel this way about these people, that they oppress this people, that they didn't like the Samaritans so much. They disliked the Samaritans so much that they would take the long way around Samaria to get to cities to make sure they didn't even have to see or interact with these Samaritans. Kind of similar how in the United States, there's red lines that are established to put certain people in certain parts of the country, how there were times where there were certain labels on particular facilities and there were white only water fountains, and then there were colored water fountains. Anybody else that has any type of ounce of blood other than this pure white only, you have to drink from this water fountain. You can't sit at this counter because you don't have the right type of blood. You're mixed. You're not like us. You're not pure. You're not really God's chosen people. This is how the Jews were thinking. And this is the example for how to love that Jesus used to let them know, do you really know how to love your neighbor? Do you really understand what it takes to love like I'm telling you to love? So Jesus used race relations to show people that believed they knew God and believed that they were following his commandments how to love. He used these race relations so that they could see this clearly. And so you have to understand there's power in diversity and understanding how we treat each other and how this love is supposed to be shown, because as humans, for some reason, we have the propensity to look down on others that are not like us. Talking about Jesus and what he would do, how he would start up his ministry, I look at another passage in Luke, and I believe that Jesus would focus his ministry on love and justice. Here's a point where Jesus was speaking to a crowd, and we want to pick up here because there's some Pharisees and Sadducees that were part of this crowd, and they have decided to invite Jesus to their home. And we'll pick up in verse 37, and it says this: as Jesus was speaking, one of the Pharisees invited him home for a meal. So he went in and took his place at the table. His host was amazed to see that he sat down to eat without first performing the hand washing ceremony required by Jewish custom. Then the Lord said to him, "You Pharisees are so careful to clean the outside of the cup and the dish, but inside you are filthy, full of greed and wickedness." It's amazing how, as humans, we look on the outside, but God looks at the heart. He looks at the intent. He looks at what are you trying to do? And he gives this warning to individuals, to really those who are leaders, who are supposed to be serving other people. These were church leaders that he was talking to, leaders in the synagogue. And he was saying that you're full of greed and wickedness. Greed is such a tricky road to go down. Wickedness follows after that. If I were to quote 1 Timothy chapter 6, it says, "The love of money is the root of all evil." This greed gets you into every type of wickedness. And so here he's telling them, you're so concerned about the outside. You're so concerned about what you think people should be doing, traditions people should be following, but you're not paying attention that you're full of greed and wickedness. You're saying that we should get rid of diversity and we should get rid of equity. But really, the reason why you're getting rid of these things is because truly you're full of greed. You want to have nepotism and the ability to choose whoever you want to do and to keep your money in house and to remove the progress of individuals that have been oppressed in this country for so many years. But yet your greediness is causing you to make it seem like, hey, I'm doing this on the outside. I'm trying to make it so there's a meritocracy, that you pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, but yet you're really trying to remove these restrictions. You're trying to remove these things that were giving opportunities for diversity and equity and inclusion. You're removing these things only to fulfill your own greed and your own wickedness. And so Jesus is telling these Pharisees, verse 40, he says to them, fools, didn't God make the inside as well as the outside? Verse 41, so clean the inside by giving gifts to the poor, and you will be clean all over. So he's letting them know, because Jesus talks about this at another time where he's preaching. He says there's only two masters that you will end up serving. You'll either serve God or you'll end up serving money. You can't have two masters. And so either you're willing to help those who are less fortunate, to make sure that you're clean on the inside, that you're not getting caught up in all this greed, because this greed will cause you to be selfish, cause you to trample over individuals, cause you to speak badly about individuals, cause you to set up rules and regulation, Jim Crow laws, and do things that you would strip culture and funds from communities. It will cause you to burn down entire cities. It will cause you to flood entire communities and take all that they have built. It causes you to do all this wickedness because you're so greedy. You don't realize you're leaving God. You're so concerned about the outside that you're not paying attention to what's happening on the inside. And so he's saying, hey, look, here's a great way to keep you from falling into greed, into this wickedness. Why don't you clean your inside by giving gifts to the poor? By helping those that are less fortunate, by humbling yourself so God's grace can rest upon you. That's what he's saying to them. Verse 42, he says, what sorrow awaits you, Pharisees, for you are careful to tithe even the tiniest income from your herb garden. So these Pharisees were so good at tithing. They were looking at something that was on the outside. Oh, I'm going to give, I grew 10 plants. I'm going to give one of my plants to the Lord. And he says, you do all these things, but you ignore justice and the love of God. What's this love that he's talking about? The love, the example that he gave in the story of the Good Samaritan. The love for those who are less fortunate than you. The love for those that you feel are really not worth your time. The love for individuals that you despise. And so he's saying, you do all these things following these scriptures because they receive how to tithe from the Old Testament. So they're following scriptures. They think they're doing a good thing, but their heart, the inside is not right. You should tithe, yes, but do not neglect the more important things. You're so worried about people giving money to you that you're so greedy because you're taking their tithe to feed yourself, but you're not worried about the justice. Are you doing right by these people? Are you truly showing the love of God for individuals that you don't know? So here, they are tithing, but they're ignoring justice. So God is saying at the end of this, yes, you should tithe, but do not neglect the more important things. The more important things is how you treat people. The more important things is showing this love to those that you despise. That's true love of God. That's the true justice that God is looking for. Not that you're the best tither in the church. And so verse 43 says this, what sorrow awaits you, Pharisees, for you love to sit in the seats of honor in the synagogues and receive respectful greetings as you walk in the marketplaces. You're so concerned about how other people perceive you in these high places, in these mighty places. But God is saying, my true servants know how to fight for justice for others. And that truly show how to love him by loving others. Verse 44, guess what sorrow awaits you? For you are like hidden graves in a field. People walk over them without knowing the corruption they are stepping on. Here, imagine all the people that you've walked over, all the corrupt things that you have done, all the bodies that have been buried. All this happens because you're greedy and you have wickedness. So, what is greed? Well, greed, you can only be greedy when you have the ability to take more than you need or to profit more than what is fair. You have to have power to be greedy. You have to have the ability to take from others to be greedy. At this time, why is it so hard for people who claim to know God, who claim to represent him, to claim to want to be a Christian nation? Why haven't they asked themselves the hard question of what would Jesus do? I think, and I could be wrong, but I think that people haven't taken the time to actually read the scriptures. I don't think people read it anymore. I think people just listen to what they want to hear. They look for individuals to tell them something that they already agree with and not paying attention to what Jesus was focused on in his ministry. I truly believe that Jesus was walking the earth today. It would be really simple to determine where he would go, because he would go for those who are facing injustices. He would look online at the Census Bureau and determine where the red lines are, and then he would go where people who have been marginalized have been put into certain sections of the city. I think he would look for those who are struggling, those who people look down upon, similar to the Samaritan that he gives in the example. I think he would help those truly who are diverse, because those are the ones that people have been trampling over for centuries. I think Jesus would care for those who feel like they've been oppressed all their lives and they're trying so hard to get ahead, and yet there's so many things that are pushing against them. Today, in this Black History, I pray that we understand and that we realize that Jesus cared about those who were diverse. God cared about those who weren't equal, who were looked down upon. God cared about those who felt they were marginalized, that they weren't allowed to sit at the table. I pray that as we celebrate this Black history and we remember all the things that Jesus would do for us, that he would really look at those who this world believes they're getting an unfair advantage, even though they have been put down for so many years. I pray we have the opportunity to stand up and do exactly what Jesus would do. So that's the charge for us this Black History Month. Who are those people that we despise? Who are those people that we look down on? Do we truly love them? Do we operate with the intent to give them justice? Or do we look to be greedy, which leads to all types of wickedness? I pray that we make the right choice and to truly do what Jesus would do. Thank you for joining us here at Discover Community Church.
Wow, guys, that was really great. Thank you for joining us at Discover Community Church.
Hi, my name is Asa Berkeley, and I'm doing a poem called Mother to Son by Langston Hughes. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It had tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time, I's been climbing on, reaching lands and turning corners, and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back now. Don't you sit down on those steps 'cause you found it kinda hard. For I's still going, honey. I's still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair. And that was a Langston Hughes poem.
Discover Community Church is here, and here's what you can expect. Join us every first and third Sunday for our worship services. You can tune in online or join us in person at one of our watch parties in Maryland or Virginia. Watch parties are an opportunity to meet the Discover family in person and watch the service stream together. Registration is required. Second and fourth Sundays are self-care Sundays. This is your day to recharge. Spend the day with family and friends, get some rest, catch a movie, or do whatever fills your cup. Every fifth Sunday is our service Sunday, where we'll host community outreach events, giving us another chance to gather and impact our communities. We can't wait to welcome you to our irresistible church. Are you connected? Go to comediscover.org to fill out our connection form and follow us at Come Discover Us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Your generous donations make a huge impact and allow us to host our Fifth Sunday service projects, sponsor community events, and make donations to local schools and our nonprofit partners throughout the year. Contributions can be made by text to give, Cash App, Tithely, PayPal, and Breeze. Go to comediscover.org to donate.
Hey, DCC kids, we meet first and third Sunday. Join our watch parties. Hope to see you there.